Hello everybody and welcome to another lecture by Dr. Yuki. Today we're going to cover a very important topic and I hope that you find it useful. So, what laser do I buy? This lecture is going to show you how to choose your laser wisely. So let's begin. First of all, I've got to do that disclaimer and I've got to read it verbatim. So here it is. Everything presented in this presentation is the sole opinion of Dr. Yuki, that's me, and not by any laser company. So no laser company can be held liable for the contents of this presentation. The contents of this presentation is only for entertainment purposes and does not guarantee success in every case or condition. That's it for the disclaimer. Let's get on to the meat of the program. Help! I am so confused. So that is why we're going to cover these topics for you. First of all, aren't you confused by sales rep pitches? I sure was about 12 years ago. So I'm here today to help de-confuse you. Next, why do you even want a laser? I'm going to go over some conditions that you can use and the whole reason why you want to have a laser anyway. And this one's a big topic. I'm going to go over the class differences because there's still a lot of confusions about classes. And next, I'm going to go over the features to look for in your laser. That is specific features that you should look for every laser that you may consider. And finally, I'm just going to share with you just a few before and after cases that makes this whole thing very interesting. But first of all, who is Dr. Yuki? Well, I am a veterinarian and I am an on-set vet, and that means that anytime they shoot a movie or a photo shoot, you have to have a vet on the set to make sure that the animals are being treated humanely. And in so doing, I do get to meet some interesting talent, and you may all know him. Some of you may not like him, but he is quite a famous dog trainer. And I have also appeared quite a lot on a lot of media. This is 9 News up in Colorado, and I do like to work a lot with exotics. Here I am lasering a camel. And here I am showing everybody how not to use a laser on a horse. This is a demonstration of how not to stand. Any equine person that's watching me here will notice that this is the absolute worst place to stand. So there's a real horse, and this is my iron horse. That's right, I do ride bikes and I love it. So that's just me in a quick nutshell, but that's not what you really want to know. What you want to know is my background in lasers. Why am I even standing here before you? Well, I am a mobile vet and I specialize in laser therapy and laser acupuncture. I'm actually licensed to practice in over 7 states. That's a lot of licenses that I have to keep track of, but I have 11 years of exhibiting in the exhibit hall with the lasers. I am on the veterinary advisory board for several laser companies. I am an independent distributor because I sell over 30 lasers from 11 different manufacturers, and I lecture worldwide. I teach vets how to properly choose a laser and also to use it. On top of that, I've written several books and I created an app as well to help you use your laser to its fullest potential. So, you want a laser? Let me give you a brief recap on what lasers do. It is an absolute safe modality, and I love it because it's non-invasive. It's a drug-free way to reduce pain with no side effect, as we all know with some medications. All good quality lasers work. Yes, I said all good quality lasers will work. But I'm going to also go over the features to look for so you know which one to get. Alrighty, so there's many ways to use lasers for both people and animals. There's over 300 different conditions. Depending on some models, there's even 400 different ways to use them. And here's just a few that I had listed, but I didn't list all of them because it'll just be too much. The font will get too small if I put all 300 on there. But anyway, let me show you this brief video on some of the ways that you can use them. Does anybody here suffer a little bit from back pain? I sure do, and I love the fact that I can use these lasers. How about post-canine treatment? They get some sore neck and jaw muscles, so it's great for post-conditioning. How about swollen feet? Anybody who's been pregnant may know how swollen our feet can get. We can do more than just raise our feet above our heart level with laser therapy. We can actually help improve lung and heart function. COPD lungs, I get that all the time, so it's nice to be able to laser, and it also strengthens the heart. How about shoulder pain? Some of you may have some shoulder pain. Isn't it nice to be able to relieve the pain without having to resort to medications? And here's the edge to win. Anybody who competes wants that edge because winning is everything. And since other competitors are using it, why not you? I have lasers that are safe to use even on the day of the event with no side effects. There's no drugs going in, so you can use it at all kinds of competitions. Elbow pain, yes, even like tennis elbow, whether it's exercising or simply just having elbow pain, you can laser that pain away. Like I said, over 300 different conditions and even more depending on some of the lasers. Anybody with knee pain? I sometimes get it if I've been walking too much. You can laser away that too. Ooh, how about neck pain? Did you get out of bed the wrong way? The pillow kind of hurt you? Or maybe you've been studying too much? Yup. Oh my gosh, this is the best way to use laser is to reduce the recovery time. And more foot pain. Wearing those high heels or just simply using them and walking too much? Use that laser. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to run like that again, to feel young again? You can do that with these lasers to help them feel like this again. Now, I don't remember ever running that way on a beach, but wouldn't it be nice to know that you can bring this joy back to your pets and also to people? Like I said, here's my email if you want to reach me, but you'll also get that email later. So over 300 and sometimes even 400 different ways that you can use them. Now the biggest thing is fighting the opioid epidemic. Imagine being able to use lasers instead of drugs. So let's watch this clip courtesy of Multi-Radiance Medical. This is actually from a news program.
Today, members of a stolen medical device company called Multi-Radiance Medical took part in congressional hearings about using light therapy as a replacement for opioid painkillers.
The technology has been around for years, but it's gaining in popularity, not only to help manage pain, but to heal it from the source.
Channel 3's Monica Robbins is here now with how it works and why it's another weapon in fighting the opioid epidemic. Monica, good evening.
Hi, Russ and Sarah. Yeah, those who suffer from chronic pain know medication may help the pain go away, but it doesn't fix the cause of the pain. That's the difference between medication and low-level light therapy. It may do both. Eric Schumacher retired from his assistant football coaching position at Massillon High School 5 years ago. He understands aches and pains, but the pain in his partially torn Achilles tendon was something else.
Hot sensation. At times it would be a stabbing sensation.
He had no interest in taking pain meds like opioids, so when he found Canton chiropractor Dr. Brett Ungar, he was thrilled to learn how a laser could help his body heal itself.
Non-invasive, extremely safe. There's very little, if any, side effects, and it's highly effective and great clinical outcomes.
Multi-Radiance Medical makes the device. It's used by most professional sports teams, college athletes, and some high schools too. But anyone suffering from muscle and joint pain, arthritis, neck, or back pain might benefit.
This uses visible an infrared light, which is safe for the body. And we make sure that the device is safe for the eye. So it's not bright, it's not going to cause any damage to your eyes. So the patient can actually take it home and apply the therapy themselves.
The laser's smart, too. Based on the speed it takes for the light to get from one electrode to the other, the device can essentially tell exactly where the injury is located, then stimulate the cells around it. So how does it work? Well, think of it like giving an energy drink to your cells, especially where it hurts. So you put the laser on your arm, it kind of slaps those cells awake so they get to business and start healing. Eric noticed a difference in 4 visits. That's what kept him coming back.
15 treatments and no pain whatsoever now.
So isn't that great? You can fight this opioid epidemic by using lasers instead of medications. There are so many lasers to choose from now. In fact, there's many reputable lasers available. Okay. I personally own over 19 of them, and like I said, I sell over 30 different lasers from 11 companies. But do be very wary of just the sales talk from a sales rep. Don't fall prey to sales pressures to make you buy that day, because you know what? There's always going to be another sale. That's right. So if you know that and you're not going to fall for those sales pitches, which one do you use? First of all, I want to talk about the classes. What do the classes really mean? Because this topic has been confusing for a lot of people. What's the difference between a class 4, a class 3B, a class 1M, and so on, especially when I say all reputable lasers work. And I've always heard some people say, I must have a class 3B, I must have a class 4. But do you really know what you're actually saying when you say that? So let me go over what these classes will really mean. Classes are actually designation that signifies the danger level to the eyes and the restrictions only. Let me repeat. It just signifies the danger to the eyes and all the restrictions. It doesn't say which laser is better. It doesn't say which laser penetrates the deepest. It doesn't even say which one is more has better efficacy. It just means the danger level. Okay? So that's why I have to go over these OSHA regulations and requirements. Class 1 has no regulations, no requirements, no goggles. In fact, it is the safest of all the lasers. There's lots of regulations for Class 4, and I want you to watch this video on some of these regulations. So let's learn a little bit about what lasers are banned. All lasers are classified between 1 to 4 because of the potential harm to the eyes. Nothing to do with which one is better than the other. In fact, the lower the number, the safer the laser, with 1 being the safest. So the class 1 is the safest. There's no restrictions or regulation. You can use it anywhere. You don't have to register your laser. Class 1 is super safe, yet very, very powerful. So the super pulsing will allow up to 200 watts of peak power. These are strong enough to treat elephants. That's right. So just because it has a class 1 doesn't mean it's weak. Class 2 lasers, that's anything that's under 1 milliwatt. You don't need to have goggles. Class 3 lasers, you do have to have a caution or danger sign posted. It is recommended also to wear goggles. Class 3B lasers definitely needs to have the danger sign posted, and I actually do recommend wearing goggles for those. Class 4 has lots of restrictions. Danger sign posted. Absolutely everyone should wear goggles, including the patient. Very high potential for a fire hazard. You cannot use it outside in an uncontrolled environment. Facility modifications are required in both Class 3B and Class 4 with things like the warning beam, a housing interlock, it has to have a loud beeping, attenuators, emergency shutoff strips, and so on. There's more required modifications. You have to have something to stop the laser to prevent people from entering. You have to black out the windows. You have to have fire hazard prevention installed. And these all must be done. You have to have a laser safety officer. That's right. You've got to appoint a laser safety officer with a class 4 because they've got to train and educate, and they have to be present when the laser is operating. That's right. An LSO has to be present. Now, the LSO not only investigate all accidents, but they also have to designate a deputy LSO if they're not available during laser procedures. So class 4, more of them, you got to have the indicator light on there. A code is required. How about covering all the glass and windows? It's got to be completely covered out. Cover all reflective surfaces like surgical tables. You got to cover the nameplates. You have to take all your jewelry off. And never ever use them around flammable gases or solutions. And you have to have a fire extinguisher on hand. And if an alcohol is not dry, it could actually ignite. You never want to point the laser beam toward flammable materials like paper, plastic. Watch this. This is one of my lasers, and you can see that if I just leave it in one place, it will start a fire because these class 4 lasers are very hot. So you have to watch what you're doing. Class 3s and 4s, you do have to register in those following states currently. Texas is very strict on it. Not only do you have to register, but they're going to charge you for that, and they will come for inspections. Now, Class 1M lasers, you don't need to register in any state. Also, Class 4s are banned at equine events. So no Class 4 at FEI and USEF events worldwide. You cannot use these on competition day. So if you want a copy of the official regulations, just ask me, and I will send this for you. It's not me telling you what these regulations are. These are OSHA requirements. So that's some of the requirements and regulations of the classes. Here's something that's frequently mixed up, and that's the difference between a constant wave pulse and true super pulsing, because lasers have 3 delivery modes. They have constant wave, pulsed, or true super pulsing. So what's the difference between them? Well, the constant wave means that it's always on, and it does get hot. It can burn patients, it can burn materials, it can cause a fire. Especially on dark patients or even over tattoos. So that's constant wave, where the light is constantly on. The next one is pulsed. And pulse means that it's gated like a camera shutter. It's on half the time and off half the time. So it pulsates on and off, and it does help to keep it cool. But it also means that it loses half the power that it's emitting. True super pulsing, on the other hand, is delivered in nanoseconds. That's billions of a seconds, and they will never overload the tissue, so it does not get hot. And that means you can treat it for a much longer time, leave it in one spot, and you can use it for all colored patients. And this is a great article that explains the benefits of true super pulsing. If you would like this article that came out of the authors of this new laser therapy handbook, I'd be happy to send that to you as well. Just let me know. So the mechanism of action is important, because really what is going on with the cell, since all good lasers can treat similar conditions, especially they have similar specifications. Okay, so if one laser company says, oh, this is super good on arthritis, well, another similar laser can do the same if they have the same specifications. What happens at the cellular level is identical in the reputable lasers, but the delivery can be quite different, as well as the cost. And here's a little chart on the bottom there. You can see the biochemical reactions like stimulating fibroblast migrations, ATP, RNA, DNA, all that. If you want this little flyer, I'd be happy to send that to you as well. And so that is what's happening at the cellular level. It's not simply numbing like a TENS unit, but it actually having effect on the cells. So let's go into the features to look for. First of all companies doing their research? The answer is no, they are not. So make sure that the laser company that you choose, they actually have studies with their own lasers to validate them, especially if they're citing them as if they did their own lasers. Now, here's one example. This is provided by Multi Radiance Medical. They have many studies. In fact, they've invested over $1 million in research. If you want a copy of that, I'd be happy to send it to you. Other companies also have done their own studies as well. Just ask the company rep that you are considering for their own studies. So let's consider this question. Do you want a cordless laser or a corded laser? Do you want a console unit with a cord? That means that there's an electrical cord connecting the laser to an outlet. So that means you have to have an outlet for it to work. There are some units that are out there that has a built-in battery, but did you know it loses half the power when it's running on its internal battery? So that's something you have to think about. Also, some patients don't like the cord on their fur rubbing up on them. And so the cordless versions, there is no cord that can rub on the fur. So some people do like the flexibility and the freedom of the cordless ones. The corded one can be also a hazard. Think of working around horses. That cord, if that horse spooks, can actually tangle and become a hazard. So you might want to think about, do I want a corded one or a cordless, since the lasers come in both ways? Another feature to look at is the 470 nanometer, which actually can combat bacteria MRSA. And among them, the best one are the 470 nanometer blue, because it has the most studies. If you would like a copy of these studies, just write to me and I'll be happy to share them with you. Some lasers also have the violet light that fights fungal infections. And recently at an airport, I did see that they are using the blue light in the restrooms because they are so good at combating bacteria. And these are just dryers in the restroom at the airport. And some surgical suites and hospitals, they started using the blue light to get rid of the bacteria post every surgery. So there is merit to the 470 nanometer blue, and some lasers do have this built right into their lasers. Do you want to do rehab, or are you going to be using the laser near water? This is something that you really must consider if you want to use it near an underwater treadmill, perhaps over the ball. A corded version would be a little bit more difficult in rehab since you're using the entire room, and that patient and that ball may not be anywhere near an outlet. What's really cool about the cordless one is you can put them in the dry packs or even a Ziploc baggie. With some lasers, you can even use them near water as they are better at repelling them, but still we do recommend using them in a Ziploc baggie. This is big. Beware of purchasing on the internet. This should be a huge warning and a red flag to you, because you only want to purchase from a reputable source and a reputable rep that you can trust them for guidance, because there's so many unscrupulous dealers selling knockoffs, especially on Amazon, eBay, Alibaba, and Craigslist. All those online sources, because is it really new? Is it refurbished? Is it used? I've seen stolen lasers being sold. Lots of time there are older models being sold on the internet where there's no support. It can no longer be repaired because it's an older discontinued model. Also, is that company located in the USA for repairs? A lot of internet companies are actually foreign companies, and you can't even send it in for repairs. Most importantly, is it FDA clear to be even sold in the USA? This is why it's critical that you do know the person that you are purchasing that laser from. It has to be FDA clear. Think of the liability on your insurance. Not only that, but look at this evolution in even the MyPet lasers. You cannot tell from the outside which is the old laser and which is the new laser. If you look at the two left one, the discontinued TQ Solo and the older version TQ Sola, they look identical on the outside, yet one of them you cannot repair. Also, a company stole the chassis and are claiming that it is a TQ Solar. It's not. The inside is completely different and it's not the real laser. So be very, very careful when you purchase them online. Do you want to do laser acupuncture? This is huge with lasers now because do you have some needle phobic patients? There are many patients that simply don't like needles. How about a hard skin or carapace where the needles can't even go in, but the laser can penetrate with no issue? And how about stomping hooves? If you have to do ting points and that hoofs just stomps on the ground and the needles go flying, you have to search in that ground for all those flying needles. Otherwise, the horse could eat it, and we don't want that, do we? How about some wiggly young patients? Not only will they not stay still for the 40 minutes for the needles, but there's a good possibility they may try to eat the needles. All right? And have you dealt with any aggressive patients? Do you really want to hang around to 20 to 40 minutes for that needle to cook? I don't think so. And the reason why, laser acupuncture is super fast. It only takes 15 to 60 seconds a point. So laser acupuncture may be the answer for these difficult cases. Another thing you have to think about, any hidden costs? Make sure there are no added hidden costs, especially when that laser is out of warranty, because some companies will charge a huge maintenance fee or software upgrade fee. And usually these are free during the warranty period, but it increases dramatically after that warranty is over. I've heard some companies charging $5,000 for 3 more years of maintenance coverage, so be sure you ask about that. And does the laser have to be sent back into the manufacturer for calibration? There are lasers that you cannot calibrate yourself, but has to be sent in. That means downtime for you where you cannot have appointments since you don't have the laser in hand. So ask about if they have to send it in periodically. Another important point, is it easy to learn and use? Because not all lasers are easy to learn to use. Some of them, you actually have to send them to a seminar and it takes a few weeks. That means that staff member is also gone for a few weeks so that they can learn to operate the laser correctly. Other lasers only take 5 minutes to learn, so there's no downtime at all. And if any of your trained employer leaves, how much time will it take to retrain someone else? Or is the laser just going to be sitting there until somebody gets trained properly? These are things that you need to consider. This is a big one. Approved for use in the USA, because not every laser is FDA clear. There are many copycats that absolutely skip this step and are unlawfully selling them in the USA. Like I said, there's tons of them on the internet that's selling these non-FDA cleared lasers. There's an influx of them, and they're not FDA compliant. I mean, think of the liability if they do cause a fire or if they injure the patient. You want to make sure that the laser that you are either sending home or using are definitely FDA cleared. And here's something, you may want to consider rentable lasers, because during COVID, it really increased the need for lasers that you can send home with the clients. Rental programs have been booming, and it's actually a new revenue stream for veterinarians. I started this program about 11 years ago, and I do have this lecture, Grow Your Business with Rental Lasers. If you would like to have this lecture, just let me know, and I'd be happy to send it to you, because it is not only a great revenue income source, but it's also really good for the patients when they can laser in the comfort of their own home. Here's a biggie. outstanding support from your rep, because the most important aspect of investing in any medical equipment is the support after the sale. Can you contact your rep at any time? How about in the evenings, the weekends, holidays? Because when you want them, you need them now. So is the company even located in the USA in the same time zone, or do you have to wait 12 hours? Do they speak English? Can you understand them? So because the rep is your most valuable resource, you've got to pick a good rep with the good laser. Now I would like to share a case with you. This is Colby the cat. Colby got bit right here by probably a coyote or a dog. Luckily got away, but this is what happened after being bit. There's no deep pain, and Colby could only drag himself across the carpet. Now, unfortunately, the owner could not afford any kind of surgery at all, but we opted instead to do laser instead of surgery. So let me show you what she did. She rented the laser for 1 month, and she lasered every single day. Look at Colby. Isn't that amazing? Without any surgery, Colby can now walk. That is fantastic to offer an option for those patients that are either not a candidate or for surgery, or the clients cannot afford surgery, is to send a rentable laser home with them. Here's another case. This was a DJD disc compression, and this is an alternative to invasive surgery. We have here a dog, and you can see how he can't really walk very well. We are doing laser instead of surgery. Once again, a money issue. And look what happens afterwards. It's really awesome to see the change with just laser. No surgery, nothing else. It's simply the laser. Look how happy that dog looks. I love this. Now I'd like to share with you a video from Multi Radiance Medical once again, because they reached out and helped the Australians when they were having the terrible fire, and this is a clip from the news.
Experts estimate at least 1 billion animals have died in those bushfires, and many more have been injured.
Brandon Simmons shows us how a company in Solon is pitching in to help wounded koalas.
When you actually go to fly in, and you can see how devastated not only the land is, but what it's done in displacing so many animals from their homes. It is a national tragedy that they're dealing with right now.
The wildfires spreading across Australia have had tragic effects, to say the least. 27 people have been killed and more than 1 billion animals have lost their lives as the fires spread across more than 32,000 square miles, nearly the size of Indiana. While many animals have perished, there are also stories of survival. Some of those stories coming courtesy technology made right here in Northeast Ohio.
When we had the opportunity to kind of get involved with the brush fire victims, it got us very excited and wanting to be part of that.
Douglas Johnson is Senior Vice President at Multi Radiance Medical, a Solon-based company for the last 16 years. They've developed handheld laser technology designed to expedite healing and reduce pain in humans and animals alike. When it comes to burn injuries, like many animals in Australia have suffered, the lasers can help heal in weeks instead of months.
And when we start to do laser therapy, we can cut that time sometimes in half, and sometimes even in just 2 to 3 weeks, we can actually get good covering of that skin that now it becomes a protective barrier.
Burns in particular are more painful than most wounds, but the lasers provide immediate relief to some extent. The devices are painless to use and are already used in veterinary clinics and zoos around the world to treat all types of animals. Today, this local company is just proud to contribute to another nation's healing.
Our goal is to actually be able to treat just about every animal on the earth if we can.
In Solon, I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
The reason why I wanted to share that with you is because Multi-Radiance Medical is the only laser that not only has the blue light built in there to fight the bacteria in MRSA, but it does not produce any heat. My other lasers produce too much heat, and you cannot use that against the burn. For example, this this gentleman grabbed a hot cast iron pan and instantly this happened to his hand. Now you cannot use a hot or even a warm laser against a burn. If you try to do that, it's very, very painful. Now here's the picture 1 week later. It is amazing what kind of recovery lasers can do. It reduces time, sometimes it reduces it by a half. So it's pretty amazing. Now I have more tips and advice on my Facebook blog, also a PDF guide. So if you go on Facebook, just type in cold laser therapy for pets and people, and that screen will pop up. And every month I am putting up their protocols and tips on how to choose a laser. The weekly tips are definitely there. If you like, I also have this PDF guide. I can give this PDF guide for you for free, or if you have Kindle Unlimited membership, you can read this book for free. It's a guide on selecting your lasers. It covers some of the basic stuff that I talked about in this presentation, but it also has a few more. So in summary, laser therapy really should be a modality option that you can offer to all your patients at your hospital. Please, please don't fall prey to the sales tactics or pressure to buy at that very moment, because you have many great lasers to choose from. I want you to try them out and look at the features that are important to you. Some of them have many buttons you have to push. Others are super easy. So try them. And for more information, you can always contact me. That's my phone number right there for texting, or best way is to email me. I always have new, used, and even demo lasers available, remember, from 11 different manufacturers. So I look forward to helping you, and whatever laser that you get, happy lasering to you, and thank you for helping the pets.